GM everyone. Welcome to this very special workshop today. As you all know, this is the Build with Celo Rewards and Loyalty hackathon. So this workshop is very important for you. So today, I will be joined by Boris from SubQuery Network, and he will do a little workshop on using SubQuery and Olas to implement a very cool tool into your app for your app developers to kind of like track user on-chain activity and reward them. And I'm Lena. I am Dev Engineer at Celo Foundation, and you can find me everywhere as Gigahertz on Twitter and everywhere. But yeah, let's get started. We will start with a very quick intro to the hackathon. We will go over some prices because there were some updates to the prices related to Olas. And then very quick, what is Celo, what is MiniPay? If you haven't watched, if this is your first workshop with us, I recommend you to go back to the whole playlist for this hackathon and watch the video about Celo and MiniPay. That will be really crucial for you. So if you haven't watched that yet, do that so you don't miss any important information on how to build for MiniPay. There's some like things that you could miss and that would cost you a lot of time. So make sure you watch that. And yeah, then we will invite Boris to a stage to talk about SubQuery and do a little demo of the tool that he built for, hi everyone, GM. For the tool that he built, and then, which is a Mac tool, and then we will open up the floor for questions. Please feel free to already whenever you have any questions, just drop them in. We will go through them at the end, question by question. So let's get started. We start, as always, with our motto, building with purpose, building for billions, unlocking the digital economy for billions of users with Celo. And of course, our motto for the hackathon, build for Celo, build for mobile, build for 360K daily active users. I checked today, it's actually 460K. So it is, probably, it's a lot. It's more than Ethereum currently, so good chain to build on. I realize these prices are too small for all of you to see, so I will just read them out. Just to go over the details of the hackathon, this workshop is part of a hackathon that's called Build for Celo with Celo, Transform Rewards and Loyalty. You can still sign up. We had our official kickoff on that last Friday, but the hackathon will run till 14th/15th of July, depending on your time zone. And we have a 10K CUSD prize pool. Our main focus is on MiniPay. I will, in a second, quickly touch on MiniPay. The main prize, the first prize is 2,500 CUSD for the first prize. For the second, it's 2,000 CUSD, and the third is 1,500. For the best step on MiniPay, then we have a prize pool for building on MiniPay of 1,000 that will be distributed between all eligible projects. And then we also have this time a special honorary mention pool for the 5 top projects that didn't receive one of the main prizes, just because we get more and more high quality submissions, and we try to figure out a way of rewarding all of you for your amazing work. And then we of course have our quests. The first one just closed today, and the second one started today. We will add the POAP for this workshop right after the workshop ends, so you can claim it right after. And yeah, the quest means each quest has a prize pool of 500 CUSD. The person that finishes all the quests, the first and with the highest points get the highest amount from the prize pool, and then goes down. Last time we had Precious, who's also joining us here, who won a significant part of both of these prize pools. So congratulations again. And yeah, and now the updates on Olas and SubQuery prices. We have 1K. You can claim the POAP through going to the Celo Stand Lemonade event, like the event you signed up for, and there you will have a POAP that you can just click claim. That's how you claim your POAP, just to the event that you signed up. And you can also find the link to the event on the hackathon page, or you should have received an invite in case you have not signed up for that event yet. So for the Olas and SubQuery prices, we have 1 KCUSD for the best use of the Olas and SubQuery Mac tool. The Mac tool we will have in today's workshop, and then 500 CUSD for the best use of Olas and SubQuery agents. I will probably host a small workshop on that on Friday to be announced. But the main thing here is actually that all people that submit a working agent and go through the developer path to mint that. And we will also get later to what does it mean to mint your code for Olas. But if you follow that developer path, you will be eligible to receive developer rewards. Olas has a developer rewards program where they distribute monthly rewards for all the developers, and you will receive some rewards. So definitely consider that. The rewards pool is much higher than this hackathon pool. So in case you have an AI developer in your team, make sure they work on this agent, modifying this agent to be eligible for this rewards program, or get a Python/AI developer on your team. Minimum 2 years of experience would be useful to be able to build that during this hackathon. Again, here the schedule. Today we have the SubQuery and Olas workshop, and tomorrow don't miss the milestone check-in. I already sent out the email and the form, so you can fill that out and update me about your current state. We will also connect you to your mentors after that, latest by Friday. And next week, Wednesday, we have the second milestone check-in and submissions on the 15th. Now, I will run through this. I always say that, and then I get stuck, but this time, just refer to the video. Celo is a layer 1 EVM compatible blockchain. We are moving to becoming a layer 2 this year, moving into the superchain ecosystem. We are mobile first. That means we also offer phone number mapping to the address to improve accessibility. We build with purpose and for purpose into banking the unbanked, which is why we focus on mobile user. We have very cheap gas fees of 0.001 CUSD. And also we offer flexibility in how you pay for gas fees. So you don't have to pay for gas fees in a volatile token, but you can also pay that in stable coins. Stable coins mean fiat pegged tokens. In our case, CUSD. And as always, built for MiniPay. MiniPay is a phone wallet that is currently implemented in Opera Mini, available for Android, and available in Kenya, Ghana, South Africa, and Nigeria, and more African countries joining soon. It has a Web 2 feeling. Please consider that when you build your app and go through the apps that you can find in the discovery page to understand how to build your application. Opera Mini has more than 80 million users currently, which just offers you a huge distribution network. And as I said, very Web 2, very seamless user onboarding through phone number and email address. And we have already more than 2.5 million users and growing a lot every day. But yeah, I was talking for 10 minutes. I hit the mark, and now I will invite Boris to the stage. Hi, Boris.
All
Very,
right.
very
Hey,
great
everybody.
to have you here. So excited for today's workshop. And yeah, maybe you want to quickly introduce yourself
Cool.
before I add the slides to it.
Yeah, let's get started. So, name's Boris. I'm representing the role of SubQuery. Yeah, I've prepared something for you today. I'm going to be starting with the introduction to what exactly we're building. We're building the SDK for essentially custom APIs or like indexes. And I'm going to be explaining first like what they are, why are they even needed, and how could they be used together with the framework that Olas team is building. I've prepared the slides for you, so yeah, maybe we start. Right. So what is a blockchain indexing? Well, essentially, it's a method of reading blockchain data, specifically historic one. So in the early days of the applications development, the decentralized applications development, the application was calling the blockchain node itself. And was trying to work with that data somehow, showing it. But you can imagine that if you're building a application that is serving a specific purpose, you would probably only need the data from this specific application, from this specific protocol, to be powering your application. So you don't really need to query all the blocks. And let's say you're trying to add the statistics of, for instance, your protocol to your application, then you'll obviously need to look in the older blocks. And it's quite a hard thing for the application to do, like iterate over the older blocks and trying to aggregate data there. And yeah, obviously the amount of blocks now is larger, and it's only going to be growing. So the alternative solution for querying blockchain historical data is needed. One of the first approach to handle the things was the replication of blockchain data into the traditional form of storing data in the form of the relationships database. Essentially, blockchain was just replicated. But at the same time, we were having those applications that were interested only in a small subset of data, specific to a certain protocol or to a certain entity. In this example, we can see that the application was only interested in fetching the Bored Ape NFT data, for instance. So instead of replicating all the blockchain state like across the all blocks, we would probably be interested in only replicating a small subset of data that would be interesting for the developers, again, for your specific protocol. And once this is replicated, we're only having data stored that is actually needed, and then we can query it. Obviously, it will take less space. Secondly, there would be a faster performance just because your database will be handling a lower amount of data, and it's essentially utilizing the traditional technologies such as the relationship databases, which has already a lot of optimizations under the hood. So essentially we end up with a lightweight, fast and responsive solutions that could be used by any kind of applications, including like block scanners, decentralized applications, wallets, and much more. And this is exactly what we're trying to do in SubQuery, essentially a open source SDK that anyone is able to configure the way one want, so that only the so that only the relevant data is being handled, processed, and then served. So in this picture, you can see that SDK is essentially taking data from the blockchains and that's storing to a database, and then it's served by via GraphQL, which is allowing a lot of things, including like interconnected entities and much more. I'm not going to be going during today's workshop on over the configuration of the SubQuery indexer. Instead, I'll just say that this is, as I said, is an open source indexer. So that means that essentially everybody could contribute to the code base, raise the issues, solve bugs. And this also means that it is local deployment friendly. It's usually a good practice to launch your indexer locally first to validate that it's working correctly and fetching data that you need. And once you've done it, you'll obviously be interested in publishing it somewhere so that it could power the applications with data. So essentially, we're going to be having three options. Since it's a Docker-friendly solution, you will be able to self-host it or publish it to any popular cloud out there, including AWS, Azure, and like more. The second solution would be the use of the centralized managed services, which is essentially a cloud solution for SubQuery projects that is very easy to be configured. And the third solution is a decentralized marketplace, a decentralized environment for indexing hosting. So a couple of words about the features and advantages of SubQuery. It's open source. It's very easy to use, very easy to set up and run. It's very simple. So for the whole setup, you'll only need to edit 3 types of files. And once those are configured, essentially you can say that your indexer is ready to be used. It's very customizable since every SubQuery project is a TypeScript project, so you can do whatever you want with it. It's very fast. It's feature rich, so the amount of features is just growing. Since it's a TypeScript project, then you're having a type safety in short. You can also have a lot of chain-specific additional features. I'm not going to be talking. I'm not going to be getting into the details. We'll be sharing the links to the documentation afterwards. It's real time, so you can establish a WebSocket connection with an indexer and fetch data on the fly. It's multi-chain, so essentially from a single indexer project, you should be able to connect to multiple chains simultaneously. It would be interesting if you're building some kind of a cross-chain protocol, including like a bridge. So essentially, every protocol that implies the execution of transactions in the cross-chain manner, very flexible and compatible with several ecosystems, including EVM, Cosmos, Volca, and more. Here are the prerequisites to run the SubQuery indexer. And yeah, here is a link to the documentation and to the Discord community. I'm pretty sure that Lena is going to be posting it additionally to all the channels. All right. So This is the end of the theoretical part of this workshop, so I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any before I switch to the practical part. All right.
I think we're good to go. Just like maybe one comment. Just for everybody who is new to Web3, indexes is kind of like if you would be able to kind of have your own API for your own data, and then you have just like much faster access. And like in this case, this is very useful or like important for tracking, like what we said, like this hackathon is focused on loyalty and rewards, and you want to kind of have access to your user data. And for that, you need to kind of create an indexer for your smart contract to be able to like, and for this is also important to add events to your smart contract, so you will be able to track if in case you want to track more specific activities of your users. But I think for this example, we're going with something very simple, and Boris will explain that more in detail. But now we have a few questions. Boris, do you want to go to answer them? Let's maybe start with the first one. Is this the same as the graph?
It is a similar solution to the graph with its own advantages. But yeah, you can think of it as the solution similar to the graph.
Okay. Do you want to share maybe one advantage to why does it make sense to build on SubQuery?
All right, yeah. So one of the advantages is the support of multi-chain features that I already mentioned. So essentially, from a single project, you can connect to multiple chains and aggregate data within a single database.
Okay, yeah, that's very cool. Thank you so much. And next, Hugh.
Yeah, it is. So by default, it's GraphQL, but you should understand that GraphQL is just the access point to the database that is being populated with blockchain data. So it's just an interface to access data. But you could use the other solutions, including REST, where you can even like execute the raw SQL queries. But GraphQL is a recommended way to go. And yeah, this is a default component that is being used within the local environments and the interface that's used by all the published deployments.
And then the last question, I don't understand it. Maybe you understand it. Otherwise, I can ask a second question. How to extract revenues from this tool? Does the sales for Franco, do you mean revenue? Like how does SubQuery achieve revenue? Or how can you achieve revenue? Because like SubQuery has pricing models. If you like deploy your indexer, to keep them running, you have like a free model, and then it goes up based on the scale of your project. And then if you want to know if there's other revenues, if you're going to implement that, this is like you will have to use it at one point in case, like if you want to understand your users or like the data that you're producing, or kind of like have any way of showcasing also to the user about their transaction history, or have an insight into the transaction history that is kind of filtered outside of like just going to a block explorer. But yeah, I think we can get started with the workshop, Boris.
All right. So the first thing that I wanted to showcase is essentially an example indexer that we're going to be working with. It's called CUSD new, and essentially in this specific indexer is handling the data, specifically the transfers, and only the transfers of CUSD. So this is a smart contract that you can find in the Explorer, and here's all data and all its transactions. And in our specific case, we are collecting the transfers, and since every transfer is having its own sender and receiver, we're connecting those entities. We're connecting those properties to the account entity. Account itself is essentially an address that is related to the particular transfers. So this indexer is published to the centralized cloud solution, the managed services of SubQuery, and could be queried right away. It comes with easy to use querying.
Could you zoom in a bit?
All right. Yeah.
And
if we,
I think maybe even a bit more. It's very, your screen is very. Okay, this is perfect. Thank you.
Perfect. So and we can query data. So the first thing that we can query are the transfers. We can query the first transfer ever indexed, since we're only indexing data from 2 hours ago, because Celo is having a vast amount of transactions and a vast amount of data to be handled. So we decided not to overload the indexer, and just to go with the recent transactions. So we are we're trying to fetch the first indexed transfer. So here's a query to do it. If we press the play button, we will see the ID of first index transaction and all its details. We can also do more sophisticated stuff, like calculating the for instance, the addresses that were making the transfers to a specific address within a certain time frame. So, for instance, this query is responding with the amount of transfers done by the individual addresses to the null address. This specific example is calculating the transferred value of each specific address to the null address. So essentially, it's like a sum of value. If you know SQL, you can think of it as a group by function. We're grouping by the sender, and also making a filtering so that we're interested in the null address as the receiver. If I press the play button, you will see that according to the currently indexed situation, we're having.
Sorry, can you zoom in even more? I just see, like, for me, it's kind of clear, but in YouTube, I think it will probably later load, but right now it's like very blurry if I look at the YouTube live stream.
All right.
Yeah, I think slowly it's possible to. Yeah, I think like this probably it works. Thank you.
Hopefully it's better. So we can see that there is actually only a single address that I've been doing the transfers to this one, and the overall transferred value is in CUSD is that one divided by, I don't remember the exact precision of ERC20 smart contract addresses, but should be like 10 to the power of 18, but I don't remember. Anyway, yeah, so as you can see, here's a running indexer that is only serving the specific set of data, the transfers for the specific smart contract. And yeah, we can execute the queries, the simple queries and like more sophisticated that I've just shown. What if constructing a query seems to be like not always the simplest thing to do. So what if we were interested in like powering it with natural language processing features, and for instance, powering the applications with some kind of a input where any company user could just simply type in a natural language the response, sorry, not the response, the request that one is interested about, and it's executed automatically via the infrastructure of SubQuery. So let's say I'm a data analyst and I'm interested in calculating how many transfers were completed within a certain period of time, or I want to have this data grouped by day, for instance. What if instead of coming up with the query, I would just be able to type it? So we can do it with the help of OpenAI, or actually any LLM out there, not even the large model, and we can ensure the decentralized execution of the queries using the framework that Olas is building. So what we're having prepared is a Mac tool, SubQuery specific Mac tool. Just as a disclaimer, this is something that yet in testing, so it's not really minted. It's not really published on chain, but yeah, I'm sure Lena will share more details afterwards. But anyway, what I will be previewing you today is not the way to call the Mac tool, but rather the Mac tool itself and the rationale behind. Sorry?
Maybe you're already preparing for it, for the zooming in, but just wanted to remind you to zoom in a lot.
All right.
I think even more. Maybe I think your screen is pretty big, so I think you can even zoom more if that's possible.
Yeah, it is possible.
Okay. Even more? Sorry. Yeah, I think that's fine.
Okay, so here is a simple Mac tool. It's only a little bit more than 200 lines of code. And what exactly is it doing? So to run it, you will need to specify the request. So this is exactly what you're interested in fetching from, which historical data you're interested in fetching from the chain. This could be a prompt. I'll be showing several examples. You could also power it up with the additional examples. So example is a argument that is essentially helping the language model to construct the query, because sometimes it's struggling to do it, especially with more complex queries that are implying the grouped aggregates or any kind of aggregations. There's also an endpoint. So here you can paste any GraphQL endpoint that you want to be your request to be routing to. So in our case, I'm including the endpoint of the indexer that we've just been querying, that is only indexing the transfers of CUSD. Additionally, we're helping the large model to understand what exactly is being indexed. So what data is being indexed by the indexes that accessed by the endpoint that we have indicated. So it will help to shape the request and understand the output in more detail. So in our case, we're telling that it's indexing the CUSD or C20 token transfers, not actually approvals. That's not really correct. Recording within the dedicated smart contract. So essentially we're just giving the context and that way helping. So yet it was only tested with OpenAI, but I'm pretty sure that it could be used by the other models could be leveraged. So let's run it. I'll need to import my API key. So I'll probably be stopping the sharing for some time. In the meantime, I can answer some questions if there are
any. Jovan asked, just to understand, is the indexer deployed like a VPS platform too?
On a VPS platform.
Does it make sense, or we can just ask to maybe what do you mean with a VPS platform?
Yeah, probably a question here whether it's not deployed, whether it could be deployed to a virtual private server.
Okay.
If that's the question, yes, it could be self-hosted anywhere. Even on your own premises. Yeah, it could be deployed to Amazon.
Yeah, it's like, as I understand, you said that the easiest way is like if you go to the platform to deploy it on Amazon through your platform, but you could also self-host it, or you even through your platform can deploy it on a decentralized storage.
Exactly.
So there's like all the different options for SubQuery to host your indexer.
Right.
Yeah, just a disclaimer here. We had one person moving some funds. Please make sure to never use your wallet where you hold your funds for development, and never push your private key. Always make sure you have the key that holds your private key, the file that holds your private keys in a git ignore. If you don't know what that means, please Google it or reach out and I'm happy to explain. But we don't want you to lose your hackathon funds, winning funds right after you won. So just while Boris is doing this, it's very important. Your private keys are very, always make sure to keep them safe.
Yeah, not your keys, not your money. So I'm ready. Let me share my screen again. And yeah, we're ready to start. We're ready to test the Mech tool. The first request that we're going to be doing is what is the overall amount transferred. So since this is a Python script, essentially, we can launch it like that. All the instructions are included in the README file. So when we run it, there will first be the query printed and then the output. So if we just copy and paste this query, if we just copy the query and paste it to the interface that we're already familiar with, we can execute it and get the value. So in this specific case, we're just like we asked, without like including the query itself, to calculate the overall amount. So the query is valid. This is the response, and it was already handled by the OpenAI. So essentially, we had a two-step process.
Boris,
yeah.
Apologies. Can you zoom in more? Somebody just requested for even more. Yeah. Yeah. It's I think this should be fine. Hopefully. Yeah. Thank you.
How large is my screen? Yeah. So you can see the output. So essentially, there is a two-step process that we've just went through. First, the OpenAI helped us to construct the query itself based on a simple request and the provided context. Then once it did it, the script fetched the data itself, and once the data was fetched, it did a second call to OpenAI, with the analysis request, essentially. And as the analysis result, we're having this small JSON file with this single object analysis result, and essentially the result of analysis in the form of a string that could be used by the application right away. I've also prepared some different examples that you can also browse in the that you can also find in the README files. So let's take this one. So if I just copy and paste it here, so we're trying to access the addresses or customers that were sending the funds to this specific smart contract, and calculate the total amount sent, grouping by the sender. And we're also applying the additional filtering so that only the transfers from the specific timestamp, like let's say last week, are being included within the fetching. Additionally, having included the specific instruction for the OpenAI to understand better how to construct the query, because sometimes it's really struggling with it. So yeah, you're also encouraged to help with prompt engineering here, since it seems like it's not the easiest task for the AI to come with the GraphQL queries. So now having this request at hand, we can execute the same script, but now with that request. Hopefully it will work, and seems like it did work. If we copy and paste this automatically generated query to the same interface, then yeah, we can see that this is valid, and this is the output. So again, only a single address has transferred the funds to this address from this timestamp and later. And together with the executed query and data fetched, we're also having the analysis result telling that that the amount is that, essentially, and completed from that address. Just like as a final example to show, let's try to use this prompt. So when was the first index transfer executed? Since we're indexing from this specific block, probably we'll only be able to fetch the first index block. What are its ID, amount? We can also ask to divide the amount by by 10 to the power of 18 to get the correct amount. If we execute it, we can see whether it will work. And it did work. So here's the query. We are trying to fetch the first transfer. We're doing it by applying the additional ordering by timestamp, and this is an ascending ordering. And here's the analysis result. The first transfer every index is having this hash, and this is the amount of transfer. So essentially, what it's all giving, it's giving the ability to easily access historical data just using natural language without any hustle. And what's good about it, that it's really generic. So the endpoint could be replaced with anything. So let's say you're building your own protocol on Celo, which is having its own set of smart contracts and events. You're interested in indexing those specific events. You've done it. You've published. You've hosted your project. You could have either hosted it like on SubQuery premises, or anywhere, or even self-host. Like, as long as the endpoint is accessible, you would be able to query it. You would provide a relevant context. So you'll have a different description in that case. So it's describing specifically what your index data is about. And again, you would be able to query your custom data from your custom indexer with a single and very simple request done in natural language. So that's it for the demo. Lena, would you like to add something while I'm still?
Yes. I just want to put this into context of the hackathon. So looking at the first hackathon where we had using AI to transform personal finance, we had a lot of people that built like a chat where people could just in the chat say like, I want to send 1 CUSD to my friend, and then it would take the contact of the person, prepare the transaction, and then you just have to click send, right? And this is kind of an addition to the chat that you could have, or like imagine a different chat. Imagine you build this for small business owners and they don't want to like read large tables, so they want to like get different information on their users. And like if you think rewards, that's why Boris created this one query of like the user that in the last week spent the most money in my shop, right? Or the user that my most top 5 frequent users. And then based on the data you get back, you can like offer different options maybe in the chat to the small business owner of like send them a gift card, or like send them a reward of I don't know, like 2 CUSD. it's just kind of like to make data more accessible, user data more accessible, and to like make rewards and loyalty kind of like really flexible. Yeah, this is just like one of the parts where we thought that would be really cool to implement. But of course, everything is open to your imagination. And just another disclaimer here. The main part is probably the prompt engineering here. Because as Boris showed, a very simple request will be created very can be created super fast and it will probably be right. But the more complex your request is, if you ask about like a specific time frame, and like if you ask who spent the most money, you actually need to aggregate all the transactions of somebody. And as Boris explained, he implemented the, like right now, our endpoint here is the CUSD, like where we index the CUSD smart contract. This is a very huge data set. We just wanted to offer you a very generic tool that all of you can use without having to deploy your own tool or like modify too much. But you would normally not create an indexer based on a token, especially CSD is being used in MiniPay with all of the users. It has incredibly high daily like transaction volume, which is I mean, if you want to like start with it, like you would, if you build your own application, you would probably deploy your own subgraph related to your contract. So you can also query specific data that is more specific to your own application. What we're right now just querying most of the time is just like who sent, like what you could send, like say, like right now with these prompts is like take the contract address of your business and say in that like if you would prepare a chat, you would want to already create like a prompt context, right? Because your user, like your business owner, is not able to like create a proper prompt that will like translate into something more complex. So you kind of have to like create a surrounding prompt that whatever like your user types in that is related to your business, and you can also like in your interface kind of give suggestions or say you can only query like get that kind of information in the chat. But the idea here is like you will probably have to like really like think about what do we want to offer to our clients if we create this kind of tool, how can they benefit, and how can we make this like more complex but still working fine? And I think that's really like where the interesting part is, like how will you create this like prompt that will make it possible for your users to also query more complex data. So as Boris said, this is right now a script that you can use. Jovan said, can we use this template? And yes. So let me just share my screen. I will take you off and I get on. So I will answer some questions in a second. What I just wanted to share, like so far, like maybe I should also share my screen. Let me do that. Okay. Let's do this. So this is our hackathon page, right? You all have seen that. And if you scroll down, you will find resources. Please make sure you go through the MiniPay and Celo resources and watch the videos. Here we have the SubQuery docs. We have a quick start how to deploy your own subgraph. if in case you want to do that, if you build something more complex, you want to query more complex events, that would make sense. We have some like video, and the guide still needs to be added, and then here how you can connect with SubQuery. Regarding Olas, as I said, to be eligible for developer rewards, which Boris will also receive once this tool has been minted, you will have to, and there's like several steps, follow a specific path to build for Olas. And we have, for example, here, you can, this is always, unfortunately, it's always really, wait 1 second, I need to share my whole screen. No. Let me just do this and this. So you will have to follow one of the developer paths. As you can see here, Max prediction tool. This is what Boris built. If you want to like, you can use the Mac tool that Boris built. Boris is currently in the path of this developer path of, well, not Mac prediction tool. It's probably at your own path. No, it's general Mac tool. So what's the path for a general Mac tool? You have to review existing Mac tools, implement a new tool, open a PR, and then mint your tool. Right now, with the tool that Boris built for the hackathon, we are in the pull request stage. So we will, let me just go here. So as soon as this tool is minted, so like right now you could just like implement the script that Boris wrote into your project as a normal Python script, right? Like already train it, like figure out the prompts that you want for your application. In the next few days, this tool will be minted, and then so like here, like I said, use the script right now to like really test out your prompts that you want to use for your application. And then, yeah, here, engineer a stable prompt that will work and not break super easily. And then like prompt environment for your user to input their prompt. And then, as soon as this tool has, like, I just realized this is, as soon as the tool that Boris has built will be minted, we will share that with you and also share a tutorial on how exactly implement that. We already have a workshop on that. That was, apologies, yeah. That is, you can find here in our playlist. And this is like here, build on MiniPay, build with Olas. I think Olas is a bit more complex, so I would recommend to everybody to watch that video before you're going to implement the Mac tool. But this is basically the video and tutorial that you need to watch to understand how to implement a Mac tool into your application. I think some of you, I know there's a few of you who already took part in Build with Celo with AI, and you already went through that workshop and already learned how to implement that. We also have a little guide and within GitHub repository that you will be able to find all of that in the docs. I just realized I might have removed that, but it will be added later today. And that's basically the next steps. Jovan just asked, what does it mean to... You can always use SubQuery, just the bounties are for like combining SubQuery with Olas. I will also like very quickly explain what it would mean to go for the agent bounty. But I just want to answer first this question. Could you please explain what do you mean by minted? Mint your tool means you will add your the code that you wrote. That will be kind of stored on chain, and that's how it will be added to the Olas registry. And this is also kind of the way how you will receive developer rewards and how it can be tracked that people interact with your tool. Only if your tool is minted, it can be added to the Mac store. And will receive like an agent ID that can be then called in the Mac store. Then I have here a question. Does this mean we have to create a subquery to our own contract? Actually, you don't have to create a subgraph to your own contract. You can use the subgraph that Boris created regarding CUSD. As I said, if you only have one contract address, you can say who interacted with that smart contract, right? If you want to, you can deploy your own subgraph and then query that. I think for the hackathon, it should be fine. For production, 100% you would create your own indexer. Maybe first see if the tool that we build is enough for what you want to build for the hackathon before you decide to deploy your own subgraph, because that would mean you will have to add another feature and like understand how to do that, right? And it will take you some hours, especially if you're new to that. How long is this Olas bounty open for? So all the bounties are open, like will close on the 15th of July. The developer rewards themselves are always open, so you have all the time to build that. I would recommend to do it in the scope of this hackathon, because the Olas people will then be able to like see your code, prioritize your pull requests for minting, and also to become part, like be on their list to maybe be pushed to receive some more developer, just for them to be aware of your project. I think it's I think that it will just give you great exposure if you come through the hackathon, and might increase your chances for developer rewards if that you go through the hackathon, as there will also be Olas judges. Yes, Gabriel, as I said, you can use SubQuery without Olas 100%. It's just not part of the bounties, but you're very much invited to do that. I always love to see projects that like have different features and implement a lot of different technologies. I think that makes it always like rounder and like closer to production, right? I feel like I still wanted to go into one last thing. So we have a second bounty, as I said. First step, implementing and modifying an agent. That's what you receive 500 CUSD for. And the idea behind that is for you to kind of extend a Celo transfer agent. This agent has been created for the first hackathon this year. It's a Celo trader agent, and like in the bottom, it has a very good explanation on how to modify this agent. Imagine you would add that to your project, and there's also a guide, a video. It's another workshop that we hosted. It's a video on how to, and like I will update the docs here, so you're clear on what docs belong to what bounty. But the idea here is to think about how can you expand the existing agent that exists. How how can you expand that with a subquery, like with a query that you add, or like you're even going to implement the Mac tool that Boris created, or you just add one script that takes specific queries, and you would offer that as kind of an incentive and reward backend agent to different, I think especially for the people building reward and loyalty management systems, this could be interesting, because then you just say like, okay, you're gonna set some, like your example agent would just have like 2-3 queries that somebody could choose or interact with. And that could be, for example, instead of like adding the tool that Boris built to the chat and like offering the users to have this kind of like interaction, and with like natural AI analyzing your data, understanding your user behavior, imagine you would just have an agent that takes over the task of like every week you have to like distribute the gift cards or like some kind of coupons. Imagine you would have an agent that would do that, right? Imagine you would expand this agent with the functionality to like, firstly, track on-chain behavior and data, and then also currently the agent has a very simple transfer function that is just transfer, I don't know, some amount of tokens to somebody. But if in case like you could also update that function to I mean, I think for the hackathon, it would be enough if you just would say, okay, do a weekly transfer for the highest paying customer or the most frequent customer, right? And you would just add a subquery and showcase like that you understand how to modify this agent. And then in the future, you can build a very interesting agent for people where you have like different interaction with somebody like running the like with one agent running the marketing campaign, one agent tracking the off-chain interaction with like Twitter, even implementing social connect to like map the Twitter account to your wallet address, and like even distribute the rewards through social media and so on. Like there's endless possibilities, and I think what we always present in these workshops is a very simple prototype, just so for you to like understand how it works, but we also want you to understand what are the opportunities of building something like that. Why does it make sense to implement that? And I think, of course, it can like take over some like boring tasks that are repetitive and have to do like more with like just like analytics and like simple transfers. Or but the bigger picture here is like, while you do that, you will actually also create a lot of synthetic data, a lot of data that can go back and train your agent at like, and when you think about your agent at one point becoming so advanced, it can create their own incentive strategies, you know, like I think that would be a very interesting use case for how you can use Olas agent economies. And I think with that, I just want to remind everyone that if you don't have MiniPay installed yet, feel free to reach out through Telegram to me. So I can send you a cash link of a very small amount, but like just so you can get started trying out MiniPay. And then the reminder to for the second quest, it started today. So make sure you check your emails and you are signing up and going through that. Please drop in more questions now, because just like this sign up for the hackathon in case you haven't signed up. And make sure you follow us on Celo and Celo Devs for all the updates. Let me just see if I did not miss any comments. I think this one was still left. How do I get to the playground? Boris, can you share the link to the playground that you just showed? I think that would be
Sure.
great for everyone. And I will also add that to the docs then. Okay. Cool. I would say, please, we're going to keep this open for like maybe 1 more minute for questions. Otherwise, feel free to reach out in the Telegram group. Make sure you sign up for the hackathon. We will share more updates on when the tool is live in the Mac client. And yeah, thank you, Boris, so much for joining us today and sharing this tool and also building this really cool and useful tool for everyone. I think we will see some cool projects, and I'm very, very excited. Happy building to everyone. And yeah, thank you so much for joining today.
Thanks, Lada.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, I was happy to be here.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.